Oh, Dolly. Friends, I did it again. I'm very sorry. There's one more step. It should be bright red so that I can see that every time. Welcome to the Dulcimer Crossing Wednesday live stream. Today we're talking about affordable microphones for recording dulcimers. At the Baritone Dulcimer Day this past weekend, of which Dulcimer Crossing was was one of the supporters, we there was a question that was asked by someone. Can you point me in the direction of an affordable microphone? And the question always is, what does affordable mean to you? But that's the second question. The first question is, what do you want to do with your microphone? So we're going to get to what I was able to find for this person based on what they were talking about. We're going to talk about that, but before that, we're going to talk about we have an acoustic instrument. We have strings and wood and a box where there's some resonance that can take place. Don't know anything about the auto caption. One of the reasons that people say they want a microphone is because they want some volume. They want to hear themselves better. What happens, there's a couple ways to do that. Microphones are one way. Dynamic, cardioid, and then condenser microphones are like three big categories. Dynamic are generally the lowest end of the economic spectrum. Cardioid are next, and condensers the next. But there's a significant overlap in all of that. We're going to get to that in a minute. But the first thing that has happened is a lot of people have added, like I have here, and underneath the light color of the bridge, you can see there's a darker color. That's a piezo pickup that sits right under the bridge and is wired to my end pin jack. What it does is it takes the vibration of the strings as they cross the bridge, and it converts that to electrical energy, which then becomes a signal that can go to an amplification system. I'm using my Cube Street amplifier. I've turned off all the effects. Whoops, I need to plug in before I turn on. And now, without any effects or anything, I have volume. But I also have a more metallic kind of sound. And the timbre is certainly different than when I'm not going through the amplifier. The volume is different, but the timbre is different. So the challenge has always been, how do we get an amplification system that makes our acoustic instruments sound acoustic? And when you pointed out to me that my sound was not on, what I was talking about is I've received a lot of recordings from um, acoustic instrumentalists who are wanting response. When we put together creative projects, we want someone to hear it. I put it out there. I want somebody to hear it. Other people do too. And there have been several that I really love the performance of. I love the arrangement. I love the vocals. Except I never heard an acoustic instrument when I know it was an acoustic instrument. What I heard was an acoustic instrument electrified. And that doesn't mean that's bad. It just means it's not my preference. And it makes it harder for me to give a wholehearted endorsement when I'm expecting an acoustic instrument. I've gotten used to hearing the electrified one. This happened in country music when guitarists started having pickups in the 90s and being able to play in stadiums and stuff without the reverb of a reverb box, which is what a guitar is. Um, we got used to hearing their plugged in sound and started calling that an acoustic sound. It's not, but some people's ears like that. So there's a lot of people and twice as many ears. So that's why we have variations. But it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for something that sounds like your instrument when it's unplugged, but with some more volume, then the piezo pickup will not be sufficient. You might have to have that plus something. One of the things Larry Conger, who was plugging in for that event, is he records 2 signals into his DAW, his digital audio workstation on his computer. He has the one that comes out of his from his pickup out into the mixer, and he has a microphone that goes into the mixer, and then he can choose the balance because the 2 things are recorded at the same time. They're producing 2 tracks, and you can switch back and forth. Which one do I want? Which one do I not want? Which one do I want more of? And that's how you can create that kind of a thing. That's Jim, you're talking, yeah, do you want it to go through a yes, very graphically, the gastrointestinal tract of a mic amp speaker. Now, that wasn't going through a mic, it was going through a pickup, which is a contact thing, taking vibrations. The mic is taking the vibrations from here into the microphone and converting it there. So it has air between the instrument and what is going on in the conversion system. Doug is saying you have a Blue Yeti Snowball, which works well for you. And I have, let's get this one up here. This is an Audio Technica 4050, which is an expensive microphone. It's got a large diaphragm condenser. But how this all started for me was I had a bunch of Shure microphones, which were cardioid and which were, what else have I got in there? Oh, yeah. This is a Shure SM58. It's been the workhorse for vocalists and some instrumentalists for a long time. They run about $99. That's the list price. It hasn't gone down. Hasn't gone up, hasn't gone down. And well, I can that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to leave that together. This has an XLR or a low impedance output, a 3-prong mic cable is needed for this. Low impedance means it's like a big fire hose compared to high impedance quarter-inch jacks, which are things that slow the signal down. When you're using an XLR like this, it's going fast. And or if your distance that it has to go is a long way, there will be some degradation of the signal. So you usually want as short a cable as you can for your application. But cardioid pattern means I'm not picking up everything over there. I'm picking everything that's in front of me. I have to hold it like this, and I usually need to be pretty close to it. When sound guy will say, "Eat the mic," what they mean is be right on it. I don't hear anybody saying that after COVID, but before COVID, it was eat the mic. Don't try to let it pick up from over here because it won't. And then sound people have to turn up the gain so high, there's feedback and there's a problem. Now, when I was using that and its companion, an SM57, which doesn't have the ball, but it's flat, those are often snare drum mics. Um, they're good for the big crash and that kind of thing. I used that for my instruments, and that's when people were saying, "Your instruments sound so beautiful, but not when they're amplified. How can we help you with that?" And so the first Sennheiser, the first small diaphragm condenser mic I got for use with both my hammered and mountain dulcimer was this Sennheiser E615, I believe it is. It requires condenser microphones require power. This one doesn't require any power. You just plug it in. Your amplifier has the power, but it's not coming into this. It's not coming back through the cable to here. Condensers always need power. They either have a battery or you're plugging into some kind of an interface which can send phantom power to this. in order for it to work. I have some CAD mics, which are look something like the Shure mics. Rick Thumb is a real fan of these. They are condenser mics also that need phantom power. When they have it, they are great. If they don't have phantom power, they're not going to work. I have one of these that I would use for the hammer dulcimer and for the mountain dulcimer, which made it difficult in a live setting. I also have a let's see. I have this matched pair of Behringer small condenser mics that two cables, but they let me put things in an X pattern like this, a crossing pattern, because when I am when you have a condenser mic that's pointed at a particular place on your instrument, you're going to get whatever's happening there. The X pattern lets you get from this direction that way and this direction that way, which is a better um, capturing of the actual sound. The sound person is going to get close to your instrument and hear where most of the sound is happening. This is the same when you're playing a hammer dulcimer as well. We're looking for where's the sound that makes it most sound like its acoustic instrument sound that it is. Now, what I'm using here, and it's possible to, the number of channel inputs you have makes it possible to use as many of these as you want, as long as you have the phantom power, as long as you have enough inputs that can capture everything. Sometimes they're just mixing them on the fly. Sometimes you're mixing them in the computer. This microphone is a good one for a small ensemble. So this is the kind of microphone when I play with Aaron and Amber in our trio, we would gather around it. And the loud banjo and fiddle would be on this side, the quieter mountain dulcimer would be here, the guitar hammer dulcimer would be over here, and we'd lean in for our vocals. It could do all of that. Um, but it's very responsive, and that's the difference. This one's a $650 mic. The Sennheiser was 250 to 300. The matched Behringer pair was 100, so two for the price of a Shure. Um, and so we're all of us looking for this. All of that is for live sound production, which is not the same as capturing for the computer. Um, they are taking sound, turning into electrical signal, which then can then be amplified somewhere. Now, if I want to get it into the computer, it needs to be digitized. And that's where you have to have some kind of a way to get it there. One way, like Doug is talking about, and I bet Jamie yours is oriented toward plugging into a computer. So the microphone itself does not have a three-prong cable or a quarter-inch jack, which the first ones, which are the dynamic mics I started with, all had quarter-inch jacks. And that's the high impedance. It just slows down the signal. They have lightning cables, USB-A, USB-C, some way of getting right into the computer system. Now, that's not all of them. These microphones go through my Claret Pre, and I can't show you that because it's in use right now, but let me show it to you this way. For Pre. Huh. I don't remember it being that expensive. Maybe they've, but I just want to get a picture here so you can see what it is. We'll share this screen, share the tab. Oh, that's why that's not the right one. I'm gonna choose it, and then I'm gonna look for it. Actually, this is the one I wanted. Where is it? Okay, here it is. It's got 4 inputs because I want to have come on. I want to have my Audio Technica is in this first one, and then I have the matched Behringers in this one, which leaves me one more input. If you look at the back side, I have these kinds of outputs for MIDI, or I'm going right out through this one right here into my computer. There's an optical way in, which is a completely different thing. And if I'd have speakers I wanted to listen to things, the monitor speakers in my studio, I would come out there. So I have lots of ways to get the music out. I have these front panel ways of getting music in, and I have headphones. Now, this one, I do not remember paying that much. So that's a lot more expensive than what I remember getting it for, but maybe I have a bad memory. When I'm shopping for things, um, I always know the details. When I've got it, I can never remember the details. But that is one of I've had more than one audio interface, but that takes the electronic signal, converts it to um, video. This is I wanted 4 inputs, that's why there's the price. About half of that is for a 2 input one, and they have a single input one as well. So, um, there are different ways to get the standard microphone to work with a computer. There are other microphones that are specifically designed for computers, and some of those we've talked about, they come hardwired with a USB cable that can plug right into your computer. But this person was looking for something that was, um, condenser microphone. I'm gonna share this while I search so you can see what I'm doing when you wanna go looking. I'm in I'm at Sweetwater, condenser microphone, um, for iPhone. This person wanted something that was gonna work with the iPhone. So we have the 29.99, um, which will work not for Lightning, but it's gonna be using the sound output as an input as well. The Rode has a microphone for that. There are these clip-on ones, um, but I think what this person was wanting to do, they wanted a condenser mic that was gonna capture just the dulcimer, and I'm not seeing it right now. Let me add Zoom. So now we're starting to get into the $100 to $200 range, and well, I'm not finding what I was looking for. I found one that was around $100 that put the matched microphone set next to each other in a lightning with a lightning port that could plug right into your phone right there, or could plug right into your iPad. Either one takes overrides the microphone that's already built in, and then it captures the best way it can capture. And so it is possible. You got to decide what's my budget. So what is affordable for me? That may be different. What's my reason? What am I trying to do here? Am I capturing some ideas so I don't lose them? You don't need that good a quality. If I'm capturing something that I want to listen to for a long time later, I don't wanna pick something that's poor quality, and all I do afterwards, after I put a lot of work into capturing it, is say, "I wish I I wish this sounded better." That's heartbreaking because you put all your effort in it, but it's not the best sound possible. You don't have to pay for everything and buy everything off the wall or out of the box in order to get a good capture of something. After that, then we're talking about something different. We're talking about how do you use your audio system. In my studio here, I'm using my Audio Technica for vocal and instrumental, and then I pivot it over here for my hammer dulcimer and instrumental. Most of what I'm doing here is teaching. Some of what I'm doing here is performing. When I'm actually recording what the hammer dulcimer does, and I want it to be a hammer dulcimer recording, I actually have a couple of microphones that are pointing in this direction from outside. I have condenser mic up high, and I have a mic that's pointed to the sound hole, which is the handle in the back, so that I can get kind of the surround sound, which is what it feels like to play the hammer dulcimer. You get the sound all around you, not just pinpoint things, and a lot of this and none of that. I do have an instrument that has a piano pickup that is routed into the soundboard, which goes under the treble bridge. I've had dusty strings with 2K and K hotspots to pick up things. Those were mostly for live situations when I wanted to amplify. And when you can't have the microphones close, you have to have them further away. Your gain has to be a little higher, and that means it's not only picking up the sound of the instrument. If I have monitors anywhere that are sending a signal back to me, they're re-amplifying that sound, and that's what creates a feedback loop, which is the squeal. So there's that. They're also amplifying all the other sounds. Microphones are not discerning like our ear is. We hear things and we can block out things. I don't know if you can hear my furnace, which is right behind me. I hear it, but I can pretend not to hear it. But when I'm recording and I play back, I'm going, dagnabbit, the furnace came on. I got to go turn the furnace off and do my recording, turn the furnace back on, and then work on a clean recording. So you're talking about some variations that you're aware of that do a lot of what you're looking for. And I know that if you're on Facebook talking about this, you're probably someone who's done a lot of no furnace sound there. Yeah, just keep bragging. um, what? Let's see if I can wake that up. I was just looking to make sure I got all the Facebook comments in here. Um, when we know what it is we want to do, that's what I was looking for. This is the one I want. Then we can make the best decision for what's going to be the best gear for that. Yeah, when you get some ambient sound, it feels more house concert like. And that's one reason that people do like house concerts, because they're not in a huge arena with everything having to be amplified so that we can hear it. We get to hear the actual sound of the instrument. And much simpler for sound setup. Smaller audience, all that kind of stuff, the good connection that can happen. Well, that's what I have for us today. I hope you find that helpful. Once I got the sound on, much more helpful after I got the sound on, right? I think I'm going to have to trim that so that when the rebroadcast has the right thing. But thank you very much. A couple of things coming up that I want to let you know about. Um, this weekend is the North Georgia Foothills Dulcimer Association. And I'm not teaching or performing in that one, but Aaron May and many other people are. Okay. That's silly. There we go. And then the Quarantine Festival is having its Christmas concerts in December. I have a workshop with the Dulcimer Club in Janesville, Wisconsin on December 10th to look at some particular tunes from my first 50 songs to play on Mountain Dulcimer. And they wanted to look at beginner, intermediate, and much more challenging. So I'll be doing that. It's a 1.5 hour workshop. It's for their club, but there will be some seats open for people who are not part of the club who'd like to participate as well. And I'll have a direct link for you to do that next week. I don't have that this week. In January, the Dulcimer Virtual Festival. This is a brand new one. This is women-led, focusing on the leadership and the artistry of women in our Dulcimer community. Sarah Kate, Erin May, Judy House. Let's see, that's not scrolling through like I expected it to. Okay, Karen Mueller, Tina Bergman, Karen Alley, Judy House, Erin May, Sarah Kate, DJ Morris, Lori Alsobrook, and Melanie Johnston will be doing all kinds of great workshops. This is open for everybody. It just happens that the organizers and the teachers are all women. So I think this is going to be bang up, and I can't wait for that one, 13th to 15th of January. The Saturday before that, Erin May and I will be doing a DAADAD workshop, how we can play together. And then we have in March, we are planning the 4 Equidistant Dulcimer Day that will be also an online one, which will focus on people who teach and play with 4 equidistant strings. And we're still under construction, but we know Aubrey Atwater and Leo Kretzner, Thomasina Levy, Sue Carpenter and Grant Olson will be here. Bradley Ellis is going to be here, but we need to get his stuff updated because that's a picture of him when he was half of his age now. So that's coming as well. So I'm looking forward to what those things can provide for our community. And for now, I will say farewell and see you next time. Thank you.